Guys, Jonathan here with a new Infinite combo in Mono Black. The key piece of the combo being Reassembling Skeleton. It's a 1/1 for 2 that says that you can pay 2, return it from the graveyard to the battlefield tapped. This is very important for a deck as it lets us sack something an infinite amount of times. Our sack outlet will be one of two things. Either Carrion Feeder, which says sacrifice a creature, put a +1/+1 counter on it. It's a 1-drop, that's a 1/1, but unfortunately it cannot block. We probably won't even be blocking with it anyway, as it's a key piece in our combo. Another one that we could use is Phyrexian Ghoul. It's a 3-drop 2/2, sacrifice a creature, it gets +2/+2 until the end of turn. Both of these can get infinitely big with this combo, so you can swing with them to deal an infinite amount of damage, or you can just use Zulaport Cutthroat, making quick work of your opponents because it says whenever it or another creature you control dies, each opponent loses life and you gain a life. This will be very helpful with an additional card that we can use in place of Reassembling Skeleton. Although Reassembling Skeleton was just reprinted in M19, so it should be easier to get than the other card. The thing that gives us the black mana to keep on making the Reassembling Skeleton is Pitiless Plunderer. Whenever another creature you control dies, you create a colorless treasure that you can sack to make a mana of any color. Very useful, and it's a card that I didn't know about until 3 months after making the original combo, which was a lot more complicated. So, the thing that lets us make the colorless mana, and by far the most important piece of the deck, because it makes an infinite amount of tokens, is Sifter of Skulls. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you create a 1/1 colorless Eldrazi Scion creature token. Sacrifice this creature, add colorless to your mana pool. So it looks something like that. And what we can do with these creatures is use them for colorless. But when we sacrifice them for colorless, we get another trigger off of the Pitiless Plunderer, making another artifact. So we can make infinite mana and then bring back the Reassembling Skeleton an infinite amount of times. This is really useful because now, making the infinite amount of mana, we can bring back the skeleton without having to sacrifice our scions. And since we don't have to sacrifice our scions, we have an infinite amount of tokens, which allows us a new win condition. It being Krav the Unredeemed. It partners with Regna the Redeemer. You can pay black, sacrifice X creatures, target player draws X cards, gains X life, and then you put X +1/+1 counters on Krav the Unredeemed. So, while making this thing infinitely big at instant speed, by the way, the entire combo is at instant speed, while making it infinitely big, you can have an opponent draw their entire deck out. What's more fun than that? Another creature that could be a win con is Mortician Beetle. Whenever a player sacrifices a creature, you may put a +1/+1 counter on Mortician Beetle, making it infinitely big, and it's only a 1-drop. Quite useful. Another way to make infinite tokens is with Open the Graves. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, you create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Since we're killing off the Reassembling Skeleton an infinite amount of times, we make infinite 2/2 black zombies, and they're not tapped. Very important. Now, there is a way to make the Reassembling Skeleton cost 1 less, and by doing so, we actually make the combo a lot easier, and we can completely leave out the Sifter of Skulls and go infinite using Zulaport Cutthroat and just Pitiless Plunderers. And the card is Embalmer's Tools. It's an artifact, it's a 2-drop. Activate abilities of creature cards in your graveyard, cost 1 less to activate. Tapped an untapped zombie you control. Target player puts the top card of his or her library into his or her graveyard. Now this synergizes really well with Open the Graves, because if we can get the combo going off, and since our Reassembling Skeleton costs 1 less to cast, we can make infinite 2/2s, which since they aren't tapped, we can mill our opponents out in 1 turn. So combined with Krav, you can get through almost anything, as Gaia's Blessing was just reprinted in Standard and shuts down the mill from Embalmer's Tools, so Krav helps with that. Now, another card that we can use to fuel this entire system is Oathsworn Vampire, and it has been used in a lot of infinite combos in Mono Black recently. As long as you have a sack outlet, and Oathsworn Vampire, Pitiless Plunderer, and then a Bontu's Monument, you can go infinite, because Bontu's Monument makes Oathsworn Vampire cost 1 less to cast, and whenever you cast it, it drains 1 from your opponent, making you gain life, so then you can cast it again. And as long as you have a sack outlet and a Pitiless Plunderer, you can pay the 1 black that it takes to do it. It's a 2/2 that says when it enters the battlefield tapped, you may cast it from your graveyard if you gain life this turn. We don't have a lot of ways to gain life. We've got Krav, but that's not much. So a good way to do it is with Fountain of Renewal. At the beginning of your upkeep, you gain 1 life, which satisfies the Oathsworn Vampire for the rest of the turn. Now, besides the Oathsworn Vampire gaining the life part, all the rest of the bits of the deck can go infinite at instant speed, which is very useful. In addition, you can add up as many triggers of Zulaport Cutthroat as you want before you let them all resolve, draining infinite, even though you only have to drain 20. Now, this can be hastened down to a 4-turn thing if you have Ashnod's Altar. Unfortunately, I don't have the card on me. It's a 3-drop artifact that says, for 0, you can sacrifice a creature and add 2 colorless to your mana pool. As you can imagine, using this is very useful, and this is how the combo would work. First off, you need, on turn 1, to drop down any creature. It doesn't matter what creature it is. As long as it's a 1-drop creature, you can go infinite. Turn 2, you drop down a Reassembling Skeleton. Turn 3, you'll play an Ashnod's Altar. And turn 4, as you could imagine, a Pitiless Plunderer. You sacrifice the first 2 creatures, and you can use the Reassembling Skeleton with the Ashnod's Altar to make as much colorless mana as you need. And then you have the 1 treasure used from the first creature that was sacked. You can use those manas to play Sifter of Skulls and then go infinite. You make infinite mana, now you can play your Wincon. And this is all on turn 4. It's a very quick combo, and it's budget too. All the cards are under $1 except for the Ashnod's Altar and the Bounty's Monument. Those are a little bit more expensive. But thanks for watching. This has been an infinite combo in mono black, and hope that you like the video. Please subscribe.